Today, we're going to be talking about teeth, but not the pearly whites in your face. I'm talking about snake teeth. So, what does this and this have in common? Keep watching to find out. Alright guys, now that we're talking about snake teeth, let's get into all the different teeth. Now, I've got a Dumeral's boa over here. What kind of dentition do these animals have? Now, snakes are classed by dentition, so depending on what kind of teeth they've got, that's what will put them in the different families, the major families. So, non-venomous snakes like your pythons, your boas, your Dumeral boas over here, corn snakes, brown eye snakes, all of them, they are what we call aglyphous. So, here's a nice 3D printed skull of what an aglyphous animal's skull looks like. Now, you can see there are 4 rows of teeth. This is actually shaped on a reticulated python skull. So there are 4 rows of teeth on the top and 2 on the bottom. Now, on a real skull, this front part is not fixed. So he can move each bottom part of his jaw independently, and that's how they can open their mouths right up and over big prey items. They cannot dislocate their jaws. That doesn't happen. Now, another thing I want you guys to have a look at is look at all the different nodules and almost like a puzzle of things connecting together. Now, a snake is not like us where it's just got one big bone in its head. It's got multiple bones joined by ligaments. And again, that's what helps him stretch his whole mouth over. But as far as venom goes and venom delivery, does not have that hollowed out fang with the venom glands where you can push it through like a hypodermic needle. So that's the aglyphous snake or non-venomous snake. So the next snake that we're going to be talking about is opistoglyphous type fangs, okay? So now opistoglyphous is all your mildly venomous and some rarely venomous back fang snakes. Now the way that this fang is different is that it doesn't have a hollowed out hole that it can squirt the venom through. What he's got is he's got a groove on the back. So he has to chew that venom in. He can't really squirt it in. Now, a lot of people think because a boom slung is back fanged, it has to bite you on like your earlobe or your pinky or something like that. That's not true. You can open up his mouth really wide. So I'm going to grab one up and we're going to show you because I don't have a 3D printed skull of this. So we've got our lovely male boom slung here. Now I'm going to get him down on the ground and we're going to try and get him behind his head here quickly. Okay guys, so there you can see tiny little fang right on the front of his mouth. Now, like I say, with these guys, they have to chew that venom in. That's why so often you'll see when they're eating chameleon or something like that, they just like keep chewing it in. Now they do need a really small amount of venom to kill, but as you can see, those tiny little fangs, they just don't have the capability of putting massive amounts of venom into you. So that is what we call opistoglyphous fangs. We've got to go on to our next one, which is pteroglyphous. And also, I've got to get a Mamba in a video somewhere, right? So pteroglyphous is what we call a front fixed fang. So he cannot move it, my favorite animal in the world to nick, because he can't move them around at me. Okay, and you can see those 2 little bumps on the front of his face. That's all that his fangs are. Now, I'm going to get Becca just to hold the bum here. And I'm going to show you guys his fangs. So if we pull those sheaths back, there you can see the fangs. Now, they've got exactly the same design as what the puff adder does, so it's exactly like a hypodermic needle, except with this guy, they're much shorter, right on the front of the face. All he needs to do is just get them through the skin. That's why they've got such potent neurotoxic venoms, because that venom just needs to get in the bloodstream. It stops the prey item pretty quickly, and then they go to feeding. What's up guys? I'm sitting inside the room, and if you know me, you know I'm going mad, but I'm doing it for you because I'm busy editing this video. Now, for me, why don't you just go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell notification, and leave a comment because it's really good for the algorithm. Back to the video. Last but not least, we have got selenoglyphous. Now, that sounds like some crazy word, but basically, this is the best animal to milk on YouTube for views because it is the most impressive. We're of course talking about our front hinged fang snake. So like the gaboon viper, largest fangs out of any snake in the world. All of your really large teeth snakes are all part of this family. And the reason for that is because they can afford to have much larger fangs because they can fold them down in the roof of their mouth. Now for someone like me who has to hold them behind the head every now and then, my least favorite one to do, especially when they're younger, because when they move like this and they take up, now you must remember when we're necking a snake, we're holding here. So if this guy picks up and squirts down, he can get quite close to us. So let's have a look at it in real life. Front hinged fangs, as we can see on this puff adder. If I get him to lift up his fangs here for us, they also got a sheath just like the Mamba did, but massive, he's pooping, massive fangs right at the front of the head that can hinge like that. Now these snakes are often so cytotoxic and hemotoxic and things like that, and the reason for them having such big fangs is that they can get it straight into the internal organs of the prey item, and quite often just the trauma from these fangs going into the prey item can actually cause the death rather than the venom itself. So we're going to put this shot in slow-mo, but we're going to get the snake to strike, and then you guys are going to see those fangs working just like a hypodermic needle. So let's let him get going there. Oh ho ho! Yo, he smashed that so hard. The feeling in your hands when he does that, I promise you, my bum hole, I almost said poo-poo, that's what we say in South Africa. My bum hole was inverted there for a second. All right, let's let him put his fangs back. Now this is the sketchy part. I think that's going to be pretty good on the slow-mo. Let's let him go there, lightning quick little snake. All right, my boy, I think he goes on holiday for the next 2 weeks because he's really had to bite a lot of things. It was chicken last week, this week it's glass, it's pandemonium for him. But he's just such a good looking snake. The first thing that we can see with a hypodermic needle is that obviously it's got that angled side to it. I don't know if you guys are picking this up too well. And then the hole in the middle. But what if I told you a fang was exactly the same? The design is identical to a hypodermic needle. We've got a really nice big fang as an example here. This comes from a gaboon viper. Let me put this down before I stick myself in the face, or just like that. All right, what we can see here, exactly the same thing. Have a look at that big hole in the middle, and it's angled down. Now watch this. This is the cool part. So picture that this syringe is the venom gland, which is going to be sitting on the back of the snake's head and surrounded by muscle and stuff so that he can contract that, squirt that venom down and into the prey item. So let's pretend that this is the venom gland. Now you can see I've stuck it just in the little bit of the hole. Now watch this. See how the venom comes out. Okay, so that's how you do. It's sticky like that, and then the venom squirts out the front of it like that. Exactly like a hypodermic needle. Okay guys, so there we saw the puff adder striking down. See his fang going through. I hope we got it in super clear slow motion there for you guys. Not a massive venom yield. You can see some of the venom is already starting to dry up. And obviously I didn't give a big massaging of his fangs, and it's got a whole bunch of different things that can go on. But the way it works is exactly like how I showed you with this. So again, there's that little opening. Picture this pushing down as the muscles around it. So it contracts that thing and it squirts the venom out and into it. So when people say that when you get bitten by a snake, you should cut it or you should try and suck it out or something like that. Imagine if I stuck you with this needle and I squirted COVID into you. Would you be able to suck it out? Would you be able to cut it out? No. All you're going to be doing is cutting yourself and hurting yourself for no reason. If you're bitten by a snake, go to the hospital. That's the best thing that you can do. They'll give you antivenom and then you'll be okay. If you don't go to hospital, you won't be okay. Alright guys, so now we're all a little bit smarter about snake teeth. Next time you get bitten by one, you can be like, oh, that was selenoglyphus or something like that. But I hope you guys all learned something, that we advancing ourselves, we're learning more, and we're starting to understand and just have more passion for these animals. So please make sure, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and we'll check you on the next video.